might like to join me for a little get ready with me for work to start off this vlog. This week is going to be a little bit of a sort of, I guess, cup filling week for me. I'm working today and tomorrow, so I'm just sort of ticking off my work period of the week first, and then I'm going to do a couple of things this week just to sort of fill my cup. I'm actually leaving my home. I'm going house sitting for 2 weeks at the beginning of this week, and as someone who's really sort of governed by her routine and really uses that to fill my cup and to keep my mental health in check, as someone who does struggle a little bit with my mental health at times, it can sometimes be challenging to kind of leave my routine, particularly considering I've got these next 2 weeks off uni, so I'm not going to be as busy while I'm away, so it's just going to be a quiet couple of weeks. And because I know that I'm going to be out of my routine and I'm going to have some time where I'm not sort of like busy, I'm not doing things that sort of feel super productive to me, I know that sometimes that can, I guess, sort of like, I struggle a little bit with my mental health when I don't have like have-tos that I need to do, or I'm not busy. Like sometimes if I'm just sort of don't have a lot on, or I've got a lot of free time, I sometimes find it a little bit more challenging, I guess, some of the thoughts that, you know, I struggle with, and maybe some other people will struggle with just mental health and anxiety and feeling like, you know, you're making the most of every single day and things like that, and even just a little bit of decision fatigue when I'm out of sort of like my habits and my have-tos that I've got to do every day. So I'm spending this week sort of filling my cup and preparing me for a couple of quiet weeks ahead of me. But I'm just ticking off my work things for the beginning of this week. So I'm getting ready now to go to work later. I've got today and tomorrow. I'm going to do a couple of things in between then and after work, and then the rest of this week before I go away I've got off, so I'm just going to do a couple of things just to sort of like put me in my best frame of mind for these next 2 weeks. So I hope you guys enjoy to come along for a fun week in my life, with just a couple of little like joyful things that I am filling my everyday with at the moment. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Hi guys, and welcome to my car, and welcome to this vlog. I thought I would just do a little talk through to walk you through the beginning of the week, because it has been pretty crazy and all over the place. I was really excited going into this week, because I thought it was going to be like a dream week for me. And it was, but there's been like a few hiccups along the way. Because on Monday, I really wanted to challenge myself. I've been trying to do some exposure therapy around my driving, particularly driving in traffic and driving in the city, because I'm a little bit anxious about that. And part of my anxiety is I've got a lot of little triggers, but one of them is driving with a dog in the car. But obviously I have my dog, my beautiful Floss, and I wanted to do a date with her and spend some time with her. So I thought to myself, okay, I found this cafe that I really wanted to go to, which had matcha for the mama and had puppuccinos and little dog biscuits. And I was really excited to take her and then maybe find a dog park. And I sort of had it all planned out in my mind. But I forgot that the thing about Melbourne is some of the more kind of, I guess, boutique style cafes are often closed on a Monday. So that ended up being closed. So that kind of fell through for my Monday plans. But I ended up just going to Glenferrie Road anyway, which is probably one of my favourite places to visit at the moment. I went to Green Cup, which is one of my favourite places. And then yesterday, I had to run up and go on a little bit of a trip. I had to leave really early in the morning, and it was -2. It was freezing, but it was still an okay day. And I just potted around that day, got some of my uni assignments done. I also, at the beginning of this week, worked 2 shifts. I have a new job, and I really am loving my job. I feel really confident and good in my role, and I'm feeling like I am getting good at the role that I'm in, but I do obviously still get anxious, particularly being the beginning of the role. And it's a very social role too. There's a lot of people and presenting yourself to people, which is something that I sometimes just struggle with or avoid. But I also know that doing that is good for me and kind of stimulates me too, and so I have been enjoying it. But it also set me up for a really good week, because I thought, okay, I've ticked that off. I just had a few uni things to do, and then I had some exciting things planned. And then this morning I had booked myself into a class with a place I'd always wanted to go called Love Athletica, and I booked myself in for a reformer Pilates, which was really fun. I haven't been on a reformer for I think I went to an intro class once years and years ago, but I remembered loving it, and I came back and I did love it. It kind of it does feel sort of like a little bit of play, and I have been doing classes. I've been working on doing classes and loving doing them, but I've really just been doing yoga classes. So I was really glad that I got to do that, and it was a really fun class. And then I just took the tram back, and I'm just sort of on the go today, ticking off a little bit of work. I went again to Green Cup this morning because I love Green Cup. The other thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to allow myself, now that I do live in the city and I have access to cafes and places that I've always wanted to try in a way that I never did before, I'm allowing myself, now that I'm working, to eat out a little bit more. For someone with my background, it's sometimes helpful, particularly, it just means, and I don't know, maybe I'll make another video about this, but I get anxious and guilty about eating out a lot, because I know it's kind of the taboo is that it's not kind of the best thing to do, it's not the most budget friendly to do, but for me I find it's quite good with waste management in terms of that, and time that I don't have to be at the grocery store or make sure that I have things, because I often don't get through a lot of things being somebody who will only have one serve of something. So sometimes I actually find it works for me. So while I'm working, and also the novelty of being able to eat out in a way that, and being able to try foods that I never had access to before when I lived remotely. So I've been doing a little bit more of that. But anyway, so I went to Green Cup this morning, which was really nice. And yeah, I'm just having a little bit of a quiet day. The other day when I went to Glenferrie Road, I stopped at Readings and I got this adorable reading bag, and it's Emily and Henry inspired. It says, "Books are my happy place," and then it's just XO Emily Henry, which I thought was so cute, and I've sort of had it on my maybe will treat myself to list for a while, and now that I'm making a little bit of money, I thought to myself, well, I might get it because I'm currently reading this book, Beach Read at the moment. I've just read the new Emily Henry book and I loved it. I definitely think it's the best one of hers that I've read yet. I've read, I'm trying to think, Book Lovers was the other one, and I loved that one too. But my mum told me that I should read Beach Read, and she's kind of like the Emily Henry expert in our household, so I thought that I would tick off this one next. I've really been good on my reading grind at the moment. I started the Hunger Games because they obviously have had the really, really nice covers out in Kmart, and it's been reasonably cheap, and I always loved the first movie. So I started the book, and I'm not sure why I was so surprised because I loved the movie, but I really, really enjoyed that book. Like, I ate it up. So I don't know. I'm thinking that I might prioritize that series over Throne of Glass, which is what I was reading. But I mean, I enjoy those books, but definitely not in the way with the Hunger Games where I was literally like, I need to just read this book until it's done, and everything else just needs to be postponed. So yeah, but I've been pretty on my reading grind. I was a little bit behind my book goal and reading goal for the year. You know how Goodreads is like, oh, you're 2 books behind schedule, you're 1 book behind schedule. And I was annoyingly 1 book behind schedule for so long, but I've actually managed to pick up, and I think I'm 1 book ahead of schedule now. So I've been really on my reading grind. And then next week I'm actually going in, I'm a house sitting, and I'm going to be out of Melbourne, remote again. So it'll be a good reading week. It also is why I'm sort of like ticking off a few things this week and, you know, eating at some of my favorite places, because I know that I'm going to have 2 weeks when I'm house sitting. And so I'm sort of like filling my cup with all of those things before I go and I have a quiet couple of weeks looking after my friend's house. So yeah, that's going to be me for a little bit, but it was nice to have my little kind of dreamy book bag for when I'm reading an Emily Henry, which I just felt worked really well together. And then I finished my final uni assignment that I needed to do for this next little bit yesterday. So I've got a little bit of free time today, so we'll see what I get up to, but I've had a pretty good morning. Yeah. So my mum and my sister have gone out for dinner tonight. So while they're out, I'm going to take the opportunity to catch up on some YouTube. I'm going to do a little bit of house decor. I'm going to clean up my coffee station a little bit. I have a new cart, which is so cute. I'll show you when I'm building it, but I'm going to build and put that together, which I just got from Temple & Webster. And then I also have a little area where I want to put some of my Sunny Angel displays and just a few things that I want on display that have sort of been hodgepodge across the house. So cue the montage, and we're just going to catch up on some YouTube and do a little bit of a house revamp. So this really absolutely was like a sparkle in my day. Look at the flavour of the bath bomb that we found. And look how stunning it is.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.